My name is Andy Sturgeon and I'm a landscape designer from the United Kingdom. I have a passion for creating special places for people, and my work's inspired primarily by art and architecture, and also the sense of place and the natural landscape. I'm particularly interested in exploring the relationship between plants and structure and the wider landscape and the way that people interact with them. It's a real privilege to be invited to South Korea, and for the LHgaden쇼 I've designed a garden which sits comfortably into the natural topography of the existing land. Wherever possible, I like to work with a site because it brings a sense of harmony to the garden. This particular site is embraced by existing trees, and I wanted the garden to fill the empty space that sits amongst those trees so that it has a sense of harmony with the place, and when it's finished it feels like it belongs there and as if it's always been there. There's an existing 2-metre level change across this site, which can be something of a challenge, but it's also an opportunity. So what I've chosen to do is to spread out that height difference across the site and create a series of terraces which step up through it, making it welcoming and easily accessible for people to both look at from outside and to actually enter into and explore. The terraces themselves have shallow pools within them, and the planting has a sense of almost a monoculture. And this is really a reference to agriculture and the way that man has this intervention in the landscape, the way it utilises and exploits it. The court end walls, performing a number of functions, they slice through the garden and they act as pieces of sculpture in their own right, sort of huge monoliths that can be seen from afar, but they also define the spaces. And working and manipulating the space is a real feature of my work. It's something I really enjoy doing with these sort of sculptural and architectural aspects. But they also create a foil, a backdrop to all the planting, so wherever you are, you can see them as a backdrop. And the colour, of course, works fantastically well with the green of planting. But what I like about it as well is this material feels as if it's of the earth. It feels like it's part of nature and it belongs. The monolithic walls also create a sense of enclosure, so they tap into the human psyche, this idea of protection. So if you have that in a garden space, it means that if you go into it, you feel safe, you feel secure, and therefore you feel relaxed. And creating that relaxed atmosphere is a really important aspect of the work. But these walls are also intended to reference architecture and buildings, so their individual sort of monolithic aspect is a reference to buildings and the way that man has intervened in a landscape and has to be part of it. Man has become part of nature and the natural world. And what I want to show with this garden is that we've achieved a balance between these things, so man and nature are working together. Another important part of this is that all of the materials are natural, so there's natural stone, the court end which has that earthy quality, and of course the plants themselves and water, so a constant reference to nature throughout the garden. And this again is about tuning into people and how they feel, and making them feel relaxed and comfortable and part of everything. The ribbon of trees which runs through the garden, these young trees, are meant to just be a reminder that whatever man does, we have to work with nature and we have to integrate it into what we do. And that's why we have a very geometric shape and plan to the garden, the structure. But this sinuous organic ribbon that weaves through the garden reminds us of that symbiosis between the two things. I've visited South Korea several times before, and I really love the culture because it feels so unique and so different from my own. And I've always managed to find a way to learn from these experiences of travel, and certainly in South Korea there are so many exciting landscape designers there, and I'm really looking forward to seeing more of their work and learning from it and integrating just a little bit of it into my own.